Hello everyone, how you all doing? Hope you're having a great day so far. Welcome to another video where we try to hype Revision 2023 competitions that are about to take place. Revision is a demo party happening in Germany, 7th to 10th of April in Saarbrücken. I already got my ticket, I'm already planning to go there. Hope you've been working on your productions because we're running out of time, and I'm very much looking forward to see everyone's productions on the big screen again. This video in particular is about the 64 kilobyte intro competition. It's a specific format in the demo scene that evolved many decades ago, well, many decades, 2 decades ago, or 3 decades ago, actually. It came from the ideals of the demo scene to try to make everything fit into very tight spaces, to be easier to send stuff around through floppy disks, through snail mail, through the BBSs back in the early to late 90s. And a lot of that know-how got passed along, and competitions became a standard in different demo parties where you had to limit into 40 kilobytes for the Amiga and 64 kilobytes for the PC. And a lot of tools were developed throughout the years. A lot of things changed as the Windows platform evolved. It's a very interesting platform that you can still do a lot of cool things with. And Revision has been like a staple of it became the main demo party where you could get together and see these major releases from the major groups. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about it in the next few slides. First things first, though, you have to check out the rules. There's a link for that. Make sure you check. Should be everything a single file, 65. You can't write to disk, I believe. Java not allowed. .NET are allowed if they follow the specific rules. Browser entries are allowed, but you also have to make sure it runs without having to run the browser in the specific way. Everything is listed. Make sure you follow the rules so you don't get disqualified. Read this page carefully, and if you have any questions, send an email to the compo organizers throughout the Revision hotline and they will get back to you. Let's go into the history of all the different revisions that happened. Revision 2011 was the first revision and already had a very strong intro competition. This year, 2011, was the year where Assembly 64 kilobyte intro competition ended up being merged to the demo competition because there was only one release out. And by Fairlight, Uncovering Static. And Fairlight had been dominating the 64 kilobyte scene for a few years back then, and this was like the last entry that they did before they retired from doing 64 kilobytes. But Revision became the staple of the major party where you would go to release your 64Ks if you are an international group or you were aimed at international scene. There were other parties with 64 kilobyte intros, but Revision was like the main stage for those. So you'll see a lot of very high quality releases. So going through 2011 real quick, we see a few releases from Belgium, from Japan, from Denmark, from Finland, from Spain. So you can see the diversity of countries. Germany, we have excellent body of your vote disc from France. People, Razer 1911, I believe it was Rez and Dubmood, if I'm not mistaken. This intro ended up being quite famous, a lot due to the fact that Razer 1911 was still somehow active on the piracy scene, still releasing crack throws and things like that. So it has a lot more popularity than the random demo scene group that does not have the history that Razer 1911 has. They also became nominated for a few awards through this disc in particular. And I have met quite a few demo sceners who became new demo sceners after seeing this intro, that this was the first intro that they saw. So cool stuff. But Pandora won the compo brain control. They had been releasing 64Ks for quite a long time already before they won with this one. They developed their own system and everything. You can find a lot of information on their website. Developed their own synthesizer, so a lot of cool stuff. And this also is a very common thing for 64 groups, 64 kilobyte for demo groups that target the 64 kilobyte platform. It forces you to develop your own synthesizer because you don't have room to put MP3s on it. And nowadays there are some open source options available like WaveSabre, but at the time in 2010, 2011, the synths were hard to find. You need to know the person developing the synthesizer and talk them into giving you their copy for you to play around with and use on your productions. So this is one of the reasons why 64 kilobytes are also taken so more respectfully. You have to develop your own synthesizer. Some groups even go as far as developing their own compression systems, texture generators, model generators. So and Farbrausch democratized that a little bit with Werkzeug, and Conspiracy also did a lot of work with Addict, and they released open source for that as well, trying to get more people into the scene. But it's a whole ecosystem, like it's their own category, and it's very interesting to follow. Anyways, moving on to the year 2012. Inc. also participating at this competition in particular. They've been doing 64Ks for quite a few years. They are from Netherlands, if I'm not mistaken. Fnook from Denmark also releasing their intros. Suboholics again, and more competition from the Japan. You see the Japan tends to participate at this at revision quite a few times. There were always a few people from Japan traveling all the way to Germany to compete. Cubicle from Finland, Brain Control releasing again, this time only getting 4th place. Razer 1911 also competing again, this time they got 3rd with The Scene Is Dead. Ctrl-alt-test released F. Felix's Workshop, got 2nd place here. And shout out to Ctrl-alt-test for also releasing their shader Minifier and always giving a very interesting making of report of their intros. You can, if you follow Ctrl-alt-test's blog, you'll see a lot of articles there explaining how they do different stuff on their intros, which is very cool if you're learning how to do procedural graphics or doing size coding stuff in the range of 64K. They're very welcome resource to go through. And then Gaia Machina from Approximate won the competition, and Gaia Machina was completely blown. Just from the screenshot alone, you can see the diversity. This is 64 kilobytes, and they have bushes, they have trees, they have rocks, they have different kind of terrains. And this is just one scene from the intro. If you see the whole intro, it has a ridiculous amount of different scenes, a ridiculous amount of content. Had to do their own modeling. This production took years working on, so it's got a lot of awards, it got a lot of praise, and it kind of got some new dynamic back into the 64K scene. Let's take a look at 2013. You can see productions from some Russian people, some Finnish guys, the Inc. people from Denmark did another release. X-Men from France also did 64K. Aurology from Switzerland and Germany, I believe, also released something for Linux even, which is very interesting. And then Brain Control won again with Turtles All the Way Down. 2014, this also became quite a famous year. Artificial, doing something for Linux. TV from Hungary, releasing an intro as well. Z Brothers again from Russia. Inc. again from Denmark. So you see some recurring names showing up. And then Mercury, which had been doing... Mercury released a series of 64Ks of increasing quality throughout 2013, 2012, 2013, and then culminated on this one, the Timeless by Mercury, which won by a landslide. You can see here, and if you see the intro, has ridiculous amount of details. And it also changed the way that you do stuff on 64Ks. They started focusing more on shaders and sign distance functions stuff. They did a whole library, which is very famous if you're doing sign distance function stuff on shaders. A lot of people reference the Mercury library of different functions that exist that you can use to define shapes and doing different kinds of interpolations between different shapes. So they developed this whole library for doing different stuff with sign distance functions, and it became a bit of a norm, or it showed the full potential of what you could do with that somehow new technology being abused for 64 kilobytes. And this intro became really a game changer. It resurrected more competition back into the 64K intro scene. As Approximate had done, Mercury also resurrected a little bit at 2014, and a few new players are about to step up or resurrect and going back, responding to the call that Mercury set out on this particular revision. So 2015, you see the response to that. The usual players show up. Teve from Hungary, Artificial in Germany, Inc. and poo-brain, which are relatively new to the demo scene, also starting to develop their own engine for doing 64Ks. Barrow from Farbrush also releasing another intro. He does some 64Ks regularly as well. And then the three trios of big groups to watch out for, which made this compo a very extremely memorable one. Small Matters of the Heart by Approximate getting third place, but look at the vote difference between them, very close. On by Mercury, also very tight production, very good, very well made. And then the winner, Off-Screen Colonies by Conspiracy. They had been asleep for a few years, I think maybe 6 years, maybe more. I'm not exactly sure anymore. And then they heard the call from Mercury, and they decided, okay, let's try to have a 64 kilobyte intro competition again next year in revision 2015. This was a very memorable competition. Like these top 3 entries, people were watching the compo and saying, okay, so that was the compo winner. Oh wait, there's one more. Ah, so that was the compo winner. Oh wait, there's one more. Ah, so it was a really cool moment. And it bred new life to the 64K compo, and people were looking forward to it again as a competition that seemed to be dying out. Not many entries. Whenever you see like a killer entry, was just one, and this was the compo where you had like 3 very extremely very good quality entries. 2016, we lost Approximate, unfortunately, from that trio, but the Conspiracy and Mercury still showed up. A few of the other people also still responded. Some of the lower tier, I'm saying lower tier because they don't reach the same level of quality, but it's great that they still, try to do a 64K every single year to submit to the competition, and that helps motivate other people to also do other stuff. Mount by Teve, 6th place. Barrow of Farbrush doing What Is Time. Artificial from Germany doing another intro as well. I remember this one was quite interesting as well. Total Control by Utopia Project. I think it's a new project. I don't really remember their group name at this point. And then the 2 productions that really made the compo, Darkness Lay Your Eyes Upon Me by Conspiracy, which was incredibly cinematic production, got tons of awards as well. I think it even won the Public's Choice Award at the Meteorics. It was nominated for Best Demo because even in the 64K, you can make extremely high quality content that it rivals with full-fledged demos without the size constraint. And then Fermi Paradox, which and you can see the point difference again, 2 points difference between these two. It was a very tight competition. Fermi Paradox is also a cinematic masterpiece, like an homage to space bodies, like the quality of the rendering on the different things, all the different scenes, the tension that it builds, the cinematic, the direction, details. Fantastic production, fantastic 64K. So both of these, this was another competition that became memorable for this duality between Conspiracy and Mercury. Sadly, this was the last time that we really saw Mercury doing like a full-fledged production. They will still do a few more productions but never quite became as full-blown or high-intensive production as Fermi Paradox was. The next year, there was a lot of attention as well. I think Beats by Decadence, Coriolis by Meteoricus Unstable Label, and Vatera. Better from Farbrouch doing another production. Off by Mercury, you can see here the response to On, but it got a lot less votes this year around. But this was a very tight competition. 2017 was very good 64K compo as well. So they got 7th place, but this is not a bad intro. This is a good intro. Gubernia also was mind-blowing. It had this amazing drone ambient cinematic vibe to it, a lot of attention to small details, had a very good mood behind it. Also a very personal favorite of mine. H by Immersion, ctrl-alt-test returning to releases on 64K. Approximate also returning to releases. Logicoma stepping up for the first time and totally blowing the place up with a great intro engage. Vessel by Conspiracy got 2nd place, and in 1st place poo-brain, who had been working on their engine throughout the year, made this the first high-quality, full-fledged 64K production that they were working on, and they won the competition out of that. So welcome poo-brain to the big leagues of 64K challengers. This year, 2017, was also the year that Assembly tried to get the 64K compo going again. So they were also talking about it a lot, and some of the groups that released here, like Macau Exports, were rooting for that to happen, or pushing for that to happen, like making a great 64K compo at revision to prove that people are still doing 64Ks actively. The compo did show up at Assembly again, but only had 3 entries on this year, so it was a success in the term that the compo was not cancelled, but and it kickstarted some things again. So 2017 was a pretty good year for 64K intros in the demo scene overall. 2018, Disassembly by some Finnish people, Antendorn by the TV Hungarian people, Bero Farbrouch doing his usual 64K, Subi and Yax also doing a 64K, actually 16K here, but very good surprise. I think this was the first release from Yax in the demo scene, if I'm not mistaken. Iota by Logicoma coming back again this year with a cool production. poo-brain also did another entry, but didn't quite place as well as the previous year. Ink also did an amazing production this year. Ink have been used to doing a lot of 64K intros throughout the years. This one had a lot of scenes, very good executions, was a really cool piece. But then Conspiracy released When Silence Dims the Stars Above, which was sort of a continuation to the Darkness piece that they released before. I think it was 3 productions overall in the same vein, or 4, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, Conspiracy on top of their game, completely won the compo, but really cool compo once again. So 64K compo at revision, one of the highlights of the party every year. A lot of productions that get released at this compo ended up being nominated for Best Productions of the Year, nominated for Best Direction, Meteorics Awards, Best Demo, Best High-End Intro, Soundtrack, all sorts of different awards usually stem out from this competition. In comparison, in Assembly, there also were more productions this year on the 64K compo. I think it reached up to 6 or 7. So definitely 64K was hype again on the demo scene. But it's still the same names, or pretty much the same names as usual. There are a couple of newcomers here and there, but it's missing new blood, and that's probably why it ends up losing a bit of traction on the coming years, but we'll talk about that in a little while. 2019, also very packed year for releases. No Conspiracy this year, so Logicoma won, but let's go from the bottom. Shopaholics, a known German group, getting last place. Vatera, Farbrouch, and Vacuum Then Hoffman collaborating with Ivory Labs and Quadtrip doing the Secret Service Agency. Team 210, they are relatively newcomers to the demo scene, doing their 64K debut here, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe they released something at Evoke before on another German party. I could be, I have doubts, but yeah. Inc. Doing another release, poo-brain doing another release, Brain Control showed up again, Polarity did a great 64K as well. Polarity is Subi and YX from the previous year. Atlas did an amazing production, great cinematic value. The soundtrack was amazing, the cinematography, the scene building, it was just completely out of the moon. Macau Exports and Monad, really great stuff. This should have won, in my humble opinion, one of the best intros that we've seen. And I think it was a debut from Monad as well. Maybe they released something. The main person behind Monad is actually Australian, and I think they were visiting Europe at the time, but usually they probably have released something before in Australia. The Jade Room, Alcatraz and LJ, they usually do 4Ks and 8Ks. They decided to do a 64K this year. Had a pretty good entry as well. And Logicoma won with Dope on Wax, which was very killer, on point, a very stylistic intro. My personal favorite is still for Atlas, but I respect the quality of all of these productions. They're like very good compo yet again. Unfortunately, after 2019, riding this compo hype, the pandemic hit. So 2020, not such a good year for 64Ks, not many people submitting. You could do stuff remotely, but a lot of the people with the pandemic didn't really do anything. Team 210 did something again. Teve did something again. Better of Our Browse represent. He always does a 64K for revision. He did one yet again. And a few guys from Japan ended up winning Gamma and Sadake, which was a really cool production, but you were left, wondering what happened to, poo-brain and Inc. and Conspiracy and Logicoma and all those people. Unfortunately, but this comes in waves. People don't have free time to do productions all the time, and these productions, especially the killer productions, do take a significant amount of effort and free time and dedication. So it's normal that not every year it's going to be a killer compo. 2021 we had a comeback of a few groups. Neuralite were a very interesting new release. They focus on this very weird style and everything in JavaScript, so very, very interesting to see. And they will release again in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. Rebels, very old demo scene group, also tried their hand at 64K. I think they usually do... They also do 64Ks. They usually do demos, but they often sometimes do 64Ks as well. Inc. Coming back to releases as well, which is really cool. FMS Cat, I think this was his debut release at Revision with Condition, who's a very good intro done entirely in JavaScript. Del Servide, new ones debuting themselves in 64K intros. They did this massive Servide, what's the normal name for that? It's the Bambi. What's it called? Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. Anyways, you see it on screen. A deer, that's the name. They did this model deer head and shoot lasers out of it, and that crashed the stream while we were watching it remotely on Twitch. Or that was the moment that Twitch banned the Revision account for reasons that were probably completely unrelated with the deer's head, but for a lot of people this was like the stream killer. When you see this head, be aware that your stream might die at any moment. But the winner, and it was a very good intro, the winner of the compo though was Clean Slate by Conspiracy. They tried their hands on doing a completely new style, trying to pack as much content as possible into a single 64K, and a ridiculous amount of content, very high quality rendering, awesome music, emulating a lot of the style that Logicoma popularized in 64Ks. And yeah, good clean winner by Clean Slate of Conspiracy 2021. So we seem to be having a compo again. 2022, we did not have a compo again. So we only had two 64K compos. Things ended up being merged with the 8K competition. So we had a combined PC intro competition. And you can see here some 8Ks by Attention Whore, BSH, and Tempkin. Altercrass did a couple compo fillers, Altervas and Altercrass. Deluxe and Premium also did a relatively compo filler. Not sure if I can call it a compo filler. Team 210 also released something, but for 8K. So more of these entries were 8K than nothing. And the highest ranked 64K was actually by Neurolite, who had done that funny JavaScript intro on the previous year. So yeah, Nuance did a 8K instead of 64K this year, and El Gore, which got nominated for Best Visuals, also was a 4K, not an 8K. So, which was even weird. Like, they have a separate 4K compo, and some people were doing, I know why this has happened like this. Some people, so there was a 64K intro competition, an 8K intro competition, and a 4K intro competition at Revision. And some people were afraid that the 8K intro competition would not have enough entries to have a full compo. So they submitted some 4Ks into the 8K to make sure that 8K would happen. But it turns out that the 8K had enough competitions. The problem was the 64K did not have enough competitions. So maybe the comp organizers didn't have time to shuffle stuff around, or they didn't care to do it. But some of these 4Ks should have been thrown into the 4K intro competition, in my humble opinion. But you know, these things happen in the demo scene. It is what it is. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It was released at the party. People saw it on the big screen. That's what matters. Or in this case, they saw it on the live stream, and that's what matters. So anyways, this was the state of the 64K. So not very cheerful. I'm hoping that this year we'll have some kick-ass entries on the 64K compo itself. It's one of the platforms that I might be targeting, maybe with the JavaScript thingy, just a compo filler. I'm not promising anything mind-blowing, but it's one of the compos that I'm thinking of aiming something at, and I hope to see more other people doing. I'm hoping for something from Logicoma, from Conspiracy, from poo-brain, from Inc., all of the groups from above, and I hope to see something from newcomers as well, because 64K needs new blood, needs new people coming up with new ideas and trying to climb the ladder. And if you don't know where to start, if you always thought, 64K would be a really cool thing to do, why don't I do one of those? There are some videos to help you with that. Ferris made a series of interviews. Ferris from Logicoma that won a few of the compos and participated in quite a few more. They've been working on their tool system for quite a long time, not just for putting graphics, but also the WaveSabre to do music, which is open source and you can use it on your own productions. And they interviewed a few of the other groups. They interviewed poo-brain, where poo-brain guys explained their whole tool chain and how they do things and their editor. They interviewed conspiracy people, and you can find these videos here. So this playlist of stuff from Ferris has very good information on how to make 64Ks, modern PC 64Ks. You will definitely learn a lot of that. Not only does it have these interviews, it also talks about breakdowns of their own demos, so how they did the things that they did, why they did it like they did it. So definitely check out, if you're into making 64Ks, you have to check Ferris's streams. Then you also have a few synthesizers already working out of the box that you can just use instead of making your own synth. If that's what's stopping you from making a 64K, you know, tell your musician to use 64 Clang, or tell your musician to use WaveSabre, get a music going and focus just on the visuals. You know, maybe next year we'll work some more on the synth, but this year, you know, just get the ball rolling and try to do something for the compo. Another useful resource is Automaton, especially if you're doing JavaScript stuff. It's what Observer been using for his 64Ks that he's been doing throughout the years. And especially if you do everything in JavaScript like he does, you can use this script to do like animations and reuse those things, which packs very well for 64K intro. Another resource worth sharing is the ctrl-alt-test blog website. They have rundowns of all their intros, and they also have links to shader minifier, for example, which is very cool to pack things up. There are a few other examples. I think Conspiracy also always have the making of their intros, which is also very cool to see. I didn't hook up that URL, but I will put it on the description of the video later on. So yeah, 64K compo. It was one of the hallmarks of the demo scene for a very long time, like showing all the insane amount of content that you can do in just a single 64K byte executable. It still has a lot of appeal and interest. Still one of my favorite competitions. Still manages to blow my mind on all the things that you can do. And you know, technology has been evolving throughout these years, throughout the pandemic as well. A lot more research into SDFs and a lot more. I know that some people have been working on some additions and bug fixes to WaveSabre as well, so I expect the sound quality can also be better on upcoming productions. So very interesting to see what we will have at Revision this year. Hope you share the hype. Hope you are working on your productions. That's it for me. See you next video. Bye bye everyone. Have a great day.